Welcome to CinemaStream. I'm your host, Horacio Jones, owner of Cinema Viva Video Productions, and we're coming to you live from our studio here in East Village. I've been producing films and videos in San Diego for over 15 years now, and I love talking to actors and filmmakers. That's why I do this show. Today, we have a special guest. His name is Tom Steward, and he's a British-born actor who moved out here 7 years ago. And stay tuned for his interview because he'll also be performing a scene from his one-man James Bond show. Well, hey guys, I hope you're doing well out there in the rain. Let's talk a little bit about movie trivia. Nobody got the trivia question right last week, so we're rolling it over, and we're going to actually give away 4 tickets tonight to the Digital Gym Cinema, if somebody can guess the question. So, the question is, who is the only Disney villain to never actually appear on screen in their respective Disney film? Who is the only Disney villain to never actually appear on screen in their respective Disney film? Answer that and you'll get 4 free tickets to the Digital Gym Cinema. So remember, the first person who comments in the chat box with the right answer will win. Stay tuned to the end of the show to find out. Now let's see what's going on in the film world here in San Diego. It's time for Local Film News! Okay, so coming up soon in March is the San Diego Latino Film Festival. Passes are on sale now at sdlatinofilm.com. The festival features over 160 Latino films from all over the world and fun events like Sabor Latino and Sonido Latino. There will be screenings at the AMC Fashion Valley and the Digital Gym Cinema, as well as parties in various places around town. And then in April, we've got the San Diego Film Week and Awards. That runs April 11th through 20th at the Digital Gym, Museum of Photographic Arts, and some more surprising venues, which I can't tell you about yet. It features a full week of local film screenings, workshops, film market, and culminates in an Academy Awards-style awards show with guest stars and presenters. There's still time to get your submission in. The final deadline is January 25th, so you still got time if you're working on something. Just wrap it up and send it in. You can submit online at filmfreeway.com/SDFilmWeek, and you can purchase tickets and find out more at sandiegofilmweek.com. And the San Diego filmmakers are starting up their meetings again. The next one is on Tuesday, February 12th, 2019 at 6 p.m. It's held every second Tuesday at the Comedy Palace. For this meeting, they're going to have actor P. David Miller talking about casting and acting. This gentleman has 2 decades of experience and went from being a Marine to launching a successful career as an actor. Find out more at sdfilmmakers.org. And last but not least, the Human Rights Film Festival is coming up January 31st through February 3rd at the Museum of Photographic Arts in Balboa Park. It features films like A Note's Ark, Charm City, Roll Red Roll, The Unafraid, and Transmilitary. You can find out more info at ff.hrw.org/San-Diego. All right, well, some exciting stuff happening in the film world this spring. Coming up, we're going to have actor Tom Steward joining us. But first, here's a look at some of Cinema Viva's corporate video projects. Please share, like, and tell us what you think about the show in the comments section. Welcome back. If you're just joining us, we are about to have an interview with actor Tom Steward. And also, don't forget to answer the trivia question for a chance to win 4 free tickets to the Digital Gym Cinema in North Park. The first person who comments with the right answer will win. All right, and let's hit up with Tom Steward. How's it going, Tom?
Hi, good to see you. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you for coming on this nice, lovely, rainy evening.
Well, yeah.
Had a bit of a problem getting here, some flooded roads, eh?
Yes, indeed, yes. I get nostalgic for England when the weather's like this.
Oh, yeah, like a British thing, huh?
Yeah.
Is it gloomy there most of the time?
It varies. This time of year, it can be pretty bleak.
I bet. Well, what made you move out here?
I came out here to get married and start a new life, start a new family, but I use it as an opportunity to get back into acting, and because there's such a thriving filmmaking culture in San Diego, there was plenty of opportunities to act in independent film. So that was really the beginning of my film acting career since I moved out here.
Great. And we have a couple of films to show you of his later on.
Thanks.
So you came out here to get married. I love your British accent, by the way.
Thanks. Well,
is that how you get the ladies?
just one. But yes, it's definitely been a benefit since I've been here. British actors have been very popular in America.
Oh, yeah.
And that seems to be a fashion that's not in any danger of disappearing anytime soon. So that's great for me.
Absolutely. I hear they get paid more too.
Yeah, well, and they sneak in, pretend to be Americans, and so we get under the radar and take all the American acting jobs.
Oh, yeah. Damn. I wish I could speak like a British accent. No, mine stinks. So what are you working on now, Tom?
Well, right now I'm doing something kind of film-related. I'm working on a show which is themed around James Bond. It's a celebration of all things James Bond, and we're taking it all over San Diego County. We just closed in Chula Vista at Onstage Playhouse, and we're moving to La Jolla, which we open on Tuesday at La Jolla Library in the evening. And this, a big part of the show is I take the audience through all 25 and a half Bond films in succession in the space of an hour.
Wait, where does the half one come from?
The fraction is generous. I tried. I bring in the unofficial Bond films, Never Say Never Again, and the 1967 Casino Royale, which are sort of not very well regarded, but they still count as Bond films.
Right, that was George Lazenby?
No. George Lazenby is one of the On Her Majesty's Secret Service. That's one of the official movies, but the Casino Royale is a kind of comic spoof of the novel.
Gotcha.
That came before the Daniel Craig, decades before the Daniel Craig version, and features Woody Allen and Peter Sellers both playing James Bond.
Oh, wow.
And indeed, Ursula Andress, the first Bond girl, also plays James Bond.
I've never heard of that. You guys, wow, I'll have to check that out.
It's definitely an oddity, and I think you should award a prize to anyone who can make it through the entire movie.
Okay, cool. So how did you get started in this crazy film business? It looks like you have a PhD in theater and arts.
Yeah. So I've always been a huge cinephile ever since I was a teenager, and so I started studying film at one of the best film studies departments in the world at Warwick University in the British Midlands, and I went on to teach film and television around universities in Britain. But I was always an actor too. I used to. I've always acted in theatre ever since I was a child, and so when I moved out to America, specifically San Diego as well, I kind of married those two things together and started acting in film as well as theatre.
Did it just come naturally to you?
I mean, it was basically, the first audition that I went on after I decided to pursue professional acting out here was a film audition, was an independent film audition, and it booking that straight away, and the kind of the education that gave me on how to act on film sets, and there were such professional productions that it made it very easy for me to go on. I think a bad experience or not getting booked would have set me back another year or so.
Well, that's good that
Yeah.
you got that under your belt. And
Yeah, and and I've kind of gone between film and theatre ever since.
And how did you get into writing your own stuff?
Well, I've written. I'm a playwright, and I've had a few short plays produced here in San Diego and also in New York. And I wanted to put something. I wanted to do a one-man show, and I wanted to put something together. I wanted it to be film-based, and so I kind of put all those things together. I did a show which I acted in, wrote, and it was also based on my extensive knowledge of films, or at least James Bond films.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Now, you also acted in a solo film called Gravedigger, right?
Yeah, this was the audition I was talking about earlier. Actually, this was the first job I booked here, and acting job I booked here in San Diego, and it just happened to be. They cast me in 2 short films. One of those films was a solo film. I was more or less the only character in the film, so it was very demanding, but really interesting, and it gave me an amazing showcase to take forward, to let people see what I look like on screen, and also for me to learn what I was like on screen, and try and figure some things out from there.
I was curious how that story developed. Was that somebody knew, or?
It seems like I as far as I know, the company Naysayer Pictures, they were made up of people from who worked behind the scenes at Legend Entertainment, and I think it was I think it's a fictional story, but it's once they cast me, I think they added some more comedy into it and tried to make the character less more identifiable, more recognizable, relatable to the audience, using comedy and making them less of a threat, or less of a kind of villainous horror character. So it's got an air of reality out of it, because it's about a kind of everyman, really, in some sense. It's just an everyman who happens to dig up people's graves and take all their stuff.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a grave digger in all of us.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's the kind of message behind the movie, and
it's definitely a unique film. Well, we have actually a bit of a clip to play from that right now. Let's see if we can cue that up and get it going.
Now, I look worse than I feel, really. Truth be told, I haven't felt anything in days. Last night, I couldn't move my body at all. And these insects have been crawling all over me as of late. One crawled into my mouth. I ate it. It was a reaction. I didn't even know what was happening. I was just suddenly biting down on it. And afterwards, I could finally move. I could actually move.
Okay, we're back. Guys, if you're just joining us, we have actor Tom Steward here. He was in the film Gravedigger, which you just saw, and it's kind of a creepy looking film there.
It is, yeah.
Did it creep you out to act like that? Were you like a method actor?
Well, it was a really effects laden film. The makeup was Vince Niebla, the director, is a makeup artist who's been on Face Off, the makeup reality show, and he does prosthetics, and so it was labor intensive in that way, and I learned a lot about how incorporating special effects into practical effects specifically into a film. from that. And you see a sort of the beginnings of the character's deterioration. And if you watch to the end of the film, there's some serious prosthetics and masks in there. It's really quite something.
Awesome. Where can people watch that?
That's on YouTube. The Gravedigger by Naysayer Pictures. You search for those terms.
Okay.
They have their own YouTube channel, and check it out. There's some really amazing directorial and editing work in there, and it's fun. It's fun too if you're a horror fan. I think you'll see the legacy of things like Psycho and The Exorcist and those kinds of horror movies in there too.
Guys, if you're just joining us, I'm looking at my phone to see if there's any comments here. If you guys are watching, feel free to comment on here, and I'll be monitoring it. So if you have a question for Tom, this is the way to do it. I see George and Angel are watching. Hi, George and Angel. Thanks for watching, supporting us. Still, nobody has answered the trivia question, so let's put that back up on the screen. The trivia question is, who is the only Disney villain to never actually appear on screen in their respective Disney film? Answer that in the comments and you win 4 free tickets to the Digital Gem Cinema. Do you know the answer, Tom? Don't.
I have some
Yeah,
suspicions.
some suspicions? Okay.
Yeah, but
We'll get to it.
but it's definitely a very challenging one.
Okay. Well, maybe you'll get the answer.
Maybe
You know?
yeah. I'll
Why not?
go
If
back
nobody's-
home and
You'll get some tickets. Hey.
Yeah.
That's cool. All right. So no questions yet. I think we're going to switch to Bond.
All right.
To Bond. Now, tell us a little bit about your show and where people can see it and how you came up with it and stuff.
Well, the next iteration of this show, which I've kind of changed a little every time I've done it, is going to be at La Jolla Library Tuesday, January 22nd, this coming Tuesday at 7 p.m. And then there's a Sunday matinee, and then we have another Tuesday performance the week after. So, and that's it's a free event, so just turn up, no ticket required. It came about from me looking for a subject for a one-person show, thinking about something which told the story of my journey from a British person living in the international world, and what better way to represent that than the James Bond films. And I think not all British people, but a lot of British people have a kind of built-in encyclopedic knowledge of the James Bond films, and I wanted to kind of exploit that, but knowing that I would have a receptive audience because of how popular the Bond films have been and continue to be internationally.
Yeah, it's a brilliant idea.
Yeah, and it's I was also looking to put a contemporary spin on some of the less appealing politics of the films as well, and the treatment of women, the treatment of people of color is pretty generally terrible throughout the history of the films, and I use the show to address that. And celebrate the things that deserve to be celebrated, but also attack and parody that which is just simply not acceptable anymore.
Yeah, how times have changed.
Yeah, and I think so, and audiences have really responded to that sense that we're trying to give people that the show tries to give people a voice who don't have a voice in the film, and they get to kind of talk back in a way that they simply don't in the scripts of these films. And I was very conscious of doing that, and that went over extremely well. And it gives the show a kind of contemporary relevance that you might not think is going to be there in a Bond film or a Bond story.
Speaking of Bonds, who's your favorite Bond? Which is the best iteration?
My favorite Bond is Timothy Dalton.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, I forgot about him.
Yeah, most people do, and he only did 2 films, and
he was very dapper. Yeah.
He's a very serious actor, and he played it in a very serious way, and I just think he brings things to the role that even Daniel Craig hasn't. For all the praise he's received for making the role kind of complex and dark and gritty, I think Timothy Dalton did it first, but he also did some really interesting things and when I watch back his films, I get way more out of his performance than I do with the other Bonds. I'll always have a soft spot for Roger Moore because he's my first Bond, and
Mine too. Yeah, it was my idea of Bond.
yeah, no, I didn't know there was another James Bond for the first 10 years that I was watching them.
me
I
too.
had to be told that
Moonraker,
that,
that was the one.
I remember.
For me.
Moonraker, that was my first too.
Yeah.
I remember specifically the time my father said to me that Indiana Jones's father was James Bond, and I refused to believe him. Because I said there's only one Bond, and it's Roger Moore, and I still wonderful. I enjoy his performances more than any other.
Right on. Oh, I see we have a question. Angel Andrea has a question. She says, "Who was your idol, or who do you look up to, either famous or dead?"
Growing up, I've always been a huge fan of Gene Hackman. I think he's just an incredible character actor. I think he's the perfect example of an actor who's not a comedian, but can be incredibly funny, and that's what I always aspire to be as an actor. Like something more than a comedian, someone who is, taking acting seriously, but can also be incredibly funny when they need to be, and that's what I've always based it on. More recently, I guess, I think Steve Buscemi is the greatest actor working today.
Oh yeah,
I would say. Yeah, I think there's no one who can quite do what he does. I think he fits in, in any film, in any role, big or small.
Well, which is your favorite Steve Buscemi film?
I think Ghost World takes some beating. That performance in Ghost World, I think it's his most interesting work. But everything, really, yeah.
Everything he does?
Mm-hmm.
That's cool. What was the movie he was in? The Big Lebowski?
Yeah,
That's the first time I ever noticed him.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's a role in which he's not kind of meant to be noticed, and yet
yeah.
he's so perfect. Yeah.
Right on. Well, I think you're going to do a performance for us tonight, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Guys, this is going to be a first for CinemaStream. We are actually going to have a live in-studio performance of one of the scenes from his James Bond one-man play. Which one are you going to do for us?
I'm going to do From Russia with Love, the second Sean Connery James Bond film.
Okay, cool. And I believe KPBS recently did a little story about your thing, right?
They did. Beth Accomando at KPBS has been a great supporter ever since I first did the show at the 2018 San Diego Fringe. She saw the show there, and she's been promoting every version of the show I've done since, and I'm really grateful to her that she's kind of followed everything that we've done.
That's great. It's nice to see KPBS supporting local playwrights.
Absolutely, yeah.
And I think we actually have that clip. We're going to play that while we rearrange the set for Tom to do his act.
At last year's San Diego International Fringe Festival, I had the pleasure of seeing Tom Steward's intensely entertaining solo show, One Man Bond, which compressed all 25 007 movies into an hour.
Just like the moonraker. Now, you know what? I'm not going to summarize this one, because this film should never have been made. Thank you. At the end of The Spy Who Loved Me, it says very clearly, James Bond will return in For Your Eyes Only. A gritty return to form. We'll talk about that in a couple of minutes. But in the meantime, Star Wars comes out, and Cubby Broccoli, producer of the Bond films and inventor of the vegetable broccoli, now we don't have time to talk about that, went to one of the film's writers, and I guarantee you, this is how the conversation went. Isn't there a book left over that sounds like it's about space, moon something? Moonraker, but it's not about space, it's about an atomic missile headed for London. I'm not making a movie about a little piddling rocket. Actual quote! We'll do Nazis in space, and I want to see lasers. We'll have to get some new characters. Just bring Jaws back, and give him a love interest, a blonde with pigtails, and let them both die in space. Now
This weekend's Bond on Third revives One Man Bond and pairs it with a staged reading of a 007 TV serial adapted from Ian Fleming's writings. The result is a feature-length ode to all things James Bond. Steward has an obvious affection for the agent with a license to kill, but he also enjoys poking fun at the tropes and sexism of the franchise. Bond on Third runs Friday through Sunday at Onstage Playhouse in Chula Vista. Beth Accomando, KPBS News.
Lots more brass, 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 brass. Don't know what to do with the circle yet. Let it just fizzle away. There's James Bond. Looks a bit like a ventriloquist dummy, but whatever. Oh my god, James Bond's dead. How are they going to do the film now? Oh wait, it's a mask. The first time with ladies dancing half naked on the screen. I think that will do it for another 50 years. From Russia with love. James, stop establishing a timeline for the franchise and get with that go from the last film and get back to the office. A Russian woman's obsessed with me, Em? Is she mental? I don't think we use that word. Even in the 60s. I'm Cuba, don't call me that until the next film. Here are some incredibly specific gadgets. Welcome to Istanbul, Mr. Bond. I'm Karim Bey. I'm clearly a Latino actor, but if Charlton Heston can play a Mexican, then I can do Turkish. Violence, violence, violence. Will somebody let me shoot something? All I've done so far is push an old man into a pond. Wouldn't you rather have sex with me while Turkish hoteliers film it? Sounds good, Tatiana. Now talk dirty into this tape recorder so all the men back in London can light their pipes while they listen to it. Now get on this train and pretend to be a respectable English couple. Jams, jams. Yes, that's what the English have on their scones. Karim. That too. No, Karim Bey. He's dead. Hello, old man. I'm Captain Nash from Jolly O'Blighty. I'm your bloody contact. Well, you talk weird, but you have cigarettes, so you can't be a fraud. I'm the bad guy. Shit. Here's what happened in the film in case the audience are morons. Interesting. Can I have a cigarette from that exact briefcase over there? Well, you know I have cigarettes, but I don't see the harm as long as I... Tear gas! Tiny train car fight! Watch wire! Travel knife! I'm glad the man henceforth known as Q put all those things in my luggage. Alright, Tatiana, let's end this film with water sex again while I look at negatives of us doing it in Istanbul to get me off. The end of From Russia with Love.
Well, guys, what an interesting performance from Tom. Thank you for doing that. That was the first on the show.
You're very welcome. Thank you. Thanks
cool.
for asking me.
That's just a taste of what you can expect if you go see his show, Bond on Draper, which is happening next Tuesday in La Jolla, right?
Yes, 7 p.m.
7 p.m. And where can people find out more info about that?
You go to La Jolla Library or follow me at Lonesome Whistle Productions on Facebook. Or Lonesome Whistle Productions on Instagram.
Cool. We've got those links up in the description, and we'll also post them after the show.
Thanks.
So, Tom, what's your advice to aspiring actors or filmmakers, people that want to get into business? It can be from anything, like how to act, how to get into business. You know,
I think from the business side of things, it's so important to put yourself out there all the time, and whether that's about submitting yourself for auditions or promoting the work you are doing, or even just kind of creating your own products from the ground floor. I think you have to be doing some combination of all those three things at all times to even have a chance of being successful. At least that's been my experience. On the artistic side, I'd say, keep exploring your identity, keep throwing, try different roles, whether it's acting, writing, directing. Figure out where you fit into the industry, what you're most comfortable with, but also, what challenge yourself, and it's you need to experiment a little bit before you find out where you're placed. I mean, I'm comfortable in this kind of actor-writer, like bouncing between the two these days. But I know from experience that I don't want to direct, or I don't want to produce unless I'm producing something of myself, and I just have to get it on.
So you want to write, direct, act,
yeah,
edit, do everything yourself.
You just, I think you need to try out as many things as possible, and then whittle it down to what really makes you happy, and where you can contribute most, and take feedback. Everyone thinks of feedback in terms of positive or negative, but there's sometimes feedback that you can use to say, well, people responded really well to this. Why did they respond really well to that? And why did they not respond as well to these other things? Just as a way of figuring out what kind of artist you are. Mm-hmm. And it might be something as simple as me finding out that certainly over here people are more comfortable with me as a comic actor than a serious actor, and so I don't feel like I'm pandering to that, but I feel like it makes it a lot easier for me to know what kind of roles to go for, and when I'm creating my own work, what needs to be in there to get a good response.
Mm-hmm. Yes, very good advice. Very good advice. If you could just objectify the criticism or the feedback, not take it personally.
I mean, you're gonna. I mean, and you're gonna find that you're lucky to get any kind of feedback. So you need to take it seriously, because it's going to be very rare. Most of the time, you'll get ignored or rejected with no follow up. So. When you do get feedback, whether it seems good or bad at the time, the important thing is to sort of learn from it. And you could take it badly initially, and I'm one of the worst people, I'll take everything personally. But then, give it a week, give it a month, and you'll be like, oh, well, I can see what they were saying, and how can I turn that into something positive? And there usually is. There usually is a way to do that, or you can, just decide that they're wrong. Which it does happen sometimes, but very rarely. Usually there is always something, pay attention to your audiences, whether you're whether it's a live audience or just a kind of general feedback from the people who've seen your work. Yeah. Because that means more than you think it does.
Speaking of audience, let's see what our audience members are asking here. Melissa Ann is watching. Denise Riddle is watching. If you guys have any questions for Tom, now's the time to put it into the comment section. And I also want to remind you guys that we have a trivia question tonight, and if you answer it, you get a chance to win 4 tickets to the Digital Gem Cinema. Let's put that trivia question up again, because nobody has answered it yet. The trivia question is, who is the only Disney villain to never actually appear on screen in their respective Disney film? Answer that, and you'll win 4 free tickets to the Digital Gem. Just post it in the comment section here. I'll be watching out for the answer here. All right, Tom. Thanks so much for joining us. Where do you see your career going? What's the next step for you? You're going to move up to Hollywood and do that thing?
No, I'm comfortable staying local for now, and theater is a lot of my. It makes up a lot of my acting work. So, and San Diego's got a really thriving theater scene, and I'd like to do more films. It's kind of few and far between, but I'd like to contribute to the film scene more generally. I just launched a film event in downtown Chula Vista called Vista Vision, which screens locally made films, new and old. And so, I'd like to be involved in film, even if I'm not acting. I'm also launching a film podcast in the next couple of months
Really?
about sequels.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, sequels are the lifeblood of cinema. So I think there should be a dedicated
Right.
podcast about them. And,
Like Transformers 2000.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, the most of the films we watch are sequels. So let's have a dedicated podcast about them. So the next couple of months.
Great.
That's
What's
what I'm
that
gonna be
going to
working
be called?
All Things Sequel. Is
Oh,
the
okay.
working title.
Clever. Clever.
And yeah, we're going to take a film and talk about its sequels instead of talking about the original, because they have a life of their own. They're a genre of their own. But you know, San Diego filmmakers, come and get me. I'm available.
There you go, guys.
This is my
if you
short
like
window.
what he does, we're gonna put his contact information out there. Not just personal information, but you can reach him through Facebook, right?
I put the personal information out there. You know, whatever.
Yeah, give him your digits right now if you want to.
Get a knock on my door at 12 tonight.
We have a question right here. What's your digits? Oh, somebody's asking what was the trivia question. Okay, Jason San Augustine. Here, let's put that up again. Trivia question is, who is the only Disney villain to never actually appear on screen in their respective Disney film? Cool. And Angel Andrea says that she loves your accent. So, got a fan? Who couldn't? All right, guys. Still waiting for somebody to answer. Do you have a guess?
You've done it to guess on air?
Sure, why not?
The only thing that I'm sure this is wrong. The only thing that pops into my mind is Fantasia and the smoke, the devil smoke, because he's not visible. But I'm sure that isn't the answer.
Oh, I see what you mean. Oh, okay. No, that's not the one. Oh my gosh, we have a winner. Kind of a winner. Yes, it's Melissa Ann says, the hunter who shot Bambi. And I'm going to give it to her. She's right. That's not exactly what the answer is here on the screen, but she is referring to the right thing. Let's put the answer up on the screen there. Melissa Ann is the winner of the trivia question. The answer is man. In Bambi, you never saw him, and he was represented by a 3-note motif, which later inspired the 2-note shark theme for Jaws. So, thank you, Melissa Ann, for winning and contributing to our show. Just send us a message through, there it is. Yeah, just send us a message through Facebook, and we will get you on the list to the Digital Gem Cinema so you can enjoy those films. Cool. Well, all right, Tom. Thanks for being with us tonight.
My pleasure. Thank you for
I hope
having
to see
me
one
on.
of your shows one of these days.
Yeah, I'd love to have you there. Let me know.
Okay, cool. And for you guys out there, thank you for joining us. I'm Horacio Jones. Once again, I do this because I love talking to actors and filmmakers. And we would appreciate any likes or shares that you could give us to keep the show going out there. Oh, and also we have a special for you actors out there. I want to extend to you a $50 audition tape special here at our Cinema Viva studio downtown. We actually had an actor this morning come from the Old Globe to do an audition tape on that concrete wall there. We have various backgrounds. We don't just have green screen, we have black screen, we have white screen. There's a whole other side over there that we could use. We have pro lighting and lights. Pro lighting and sound. I can't even read my teleprompter. And I'll even be your reader. Just read it flat. So give me a call or send me a message on FB if you want to take advantage of our $50 acting audition tape. Our next week's guest is actor Shane P. Allen. He will be here same time, same place next week, 7 o'clock here on CinemaStream. There's actor Shane P. Allen. He's been in some pretty famous films. I think he was on the Sully film and some other stuff. Anyway, we'll find out next week. We'll have Shane P. Allen here in the studio. Thanks again for joining us. I'm going to leave you guys here with a special gift. This is my mom's amazing enchilada recipe. It's one of my favorite dishes in the whole world. Thank you, Mom, for making it and letting me film you. Once again, guys, I'm Horacio Jones, owner of Cinema Viva. Have a great rest of your night. Stay dry.
Cinema Viva is a full-service San Diego video production company with over 15 years of experience. We are fully versed in all styles of production, from film and documentaries to corporate, training, and live streaming web videos. By utilizing the latest in video technology and motion graphics, your video will clearly convey your message and brand to the marketplace. Our team makes the video production process enjoyable and efficient. Contact us for a free video production consultation at 619-549-3003 or visit cinemaviva.com.